All right, so here's another episode of Bootcast. So we have Tejas with Social Pilot with us today. Tejas, how you doing today?
Hey Vivek, doing great. How are you doing?
Good, good, good. Let's jump right into it. So you run a SaaS platform that helps marketers automate social marketing. Is that a correct way of describing it? Tell me what it is.
Yep, that's absolutely right. So we run a social media publishing platform, which is used by SMBs and agencies to manage social media. So they usually publish, they look at the analytics, and then they manage the inbox, like
Got it.
reply to messages. So
Got it. Makes sense. How long have you guys been in business?
6 years now,
Nice. How much are you guys making?
1.8.
Nice.
Mira,
Good, good. And you've not raised money, what
we
I
have not raised
gather?
money. That's
Yeah,
right.
fuck those guys. Yeah, it's all right. Awesome. Yeah, I love it. So tell me a little bit more. So what's your kind of agency to direct ratio? Like, obviously you sell to agencies and you sell to somebody direct
Mhm.
also, right? I'm just curious, what's your agency to direct ratio?
So,
How do you look at that business?
so we are, I think, 65% agency
Mm-hmm.
business right now, and this has evolved over the years. So initially,
Right,
we were like focusing on bloggers and then individual freelancers,
right.
but we realized quickly that that business model does not work. So we moved on like to a higher value chain, as in focusing on businesses,
Mm-hmm.
and then we realized that businesses have only so much of need. It's not like your core product, core bread and butter. So we moved on to agencies, and now over the years, we have kind of now 65% of customers are agencies.
Got it. And on the agency side, are they small, like really mom and pop agencies? They're, 5, 10%, or maybe large agency? How do you distribute that? Can you give us a sense of that distribution?
So most of our agencies are around 10 to 15 people.
Hmm.
And in that agency, we would have like 3 or 4 or 5 people working on social media, along with everything else. Out of 65%, I would say 35 to 40% of agencies are in that range, like till
Got
10
it.
people in that agency. And
Got it.
then there are like bigger agencies who have smaller social media teams, or like bigger, larger agencies who have uh, very scattered teams, and then
Mhm.
multiple teams using social pilot. So it's kind of mixture.
Got it. And your pricing, help me understand your pricing. So you decided to go on a per user pricing. Is that how you do it? How do you price it?
We currently do it on an account. So for example, if an agency has an account with us, so that's the price for the account, and then they can add n number of team members.
Hmm.
So there are 3 price points that we currently have, and each price point comes with like certain number of team members. You
Got
can
it.
certainly add on to it as a additional charge.
Got it. And do you differentiate between the price tiers based on kind of features and functionality, or is it just kind of like you get all the features, but based on kind of usage? How did you decide whether features versus usage? How did you decide that?
So it's a mix of both. There's a value-based pricing component, obviously. So there are certain features available only on small team and agency plan,
Hmm.
which are like the two higher plans. And then the other factor that comes into picture is the usage in terms of number of accounts that you connect with Social Pilot, and then the number of posts that you publish on a daily basis with Social Pilot.
Got it. So it's like the usage is the number of accounts and the number of posts on those accounts,
That's right.
realistically. So that's kind of the more you use, the more you pay. So that's how you kind of capture that
That's
value.
right.
And then on this side, there's like a number of on bucketing number of the number of administrators slash kind of operators of the system, realistically, right?
That's right.
Got it. Help me understand like kind of your growth trajectory also. So obviously you're making $2 million right now. So at some point it was zero, so 0 to 2. Like help me understand how did that go around? Like tell me your
Yep.
story.
So, and I think the context would really help. So this started really as a in-house project that my co-founder,
All companies start as in-house
right?
projects, man. Don't worry about it, right? Every company
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah, we are very proud of it. So I'm not
Yeah.
hiding the fact, right?
Perfect. Yeah.
Uh, my co-founder, who's also the CEO, he was running a services company for digital like websites and the typical stuff, right? And he realized that a lot of e-commerce agencies do not have like a way to market their products.
Hmm.
So Social Palette was originally created in-house to experiment if we can service those e-commerce companies that are coming in to build the websites with us. And we experimented and we realized that it's working out fine. And then the customers started asking if they can use the product, and then they wanted to pay for it if we build this feature, that feature, etc. So
Right.
the dream way of building the product, like customers
Yeah.
asking for features and paying for it.
Yep. So
Yeah.
you started off as an agency and you were basically using the tool internally for your customers, and then you spun it out. Do you help me understand did you spin it out as a separate company? Do you kind of run it as part of the agency and then spin it out? How did that go about?
So initially, for the first year, we had zero revenues while we were building the product, obviously. So it was a part of the agency. And again, this was my co-founder running it. I was not a part of the agency, but I was like advising, helping him. Since I was like done a lot of things here in the US, I wanted to kind of help him out. So that's how we started. So initially for the first year, it was a part of the agency. And then once the money started coming in, we said, let's spin it off as a different company. So that's where we kind of got out of the agency business totally and then focused on the product.
Did you shut down? I'm curious. Did you shut down the agency business? Do you get out of it? Did you spin it out and let somebody else run it? What did you do there?
We shut it down because the best developers were in the agency. So we wanted those developers. So we
Nice.
said, yeah.
You just raided the entire thing and just bought it.
Yep.
So you truly pivoted from a services to a SaaS company, really.
That's right.
Like truly, like it's not like just kind of like and
No.
and that's awesome to hear. So see, I see a lot of times where like people are within agencies, they come up with amazing ideas, but they kind of stick it inside the agency and never kind of the products never become real products, right? Because they're still part of a larger agency. And then there's always this kind of like friction between the services and the product side.
That's true. And I worked in like larger consulting companies before Social Pilot, and I've seen like products, great ideas coming in inside the organization and then dying out because there was no sponsor, because it was not making money. And then, hey, servicing a large BFSI account is making more money than working on this product. So I work there. So I totally relate with you, man.
Right. Yeah. So I think I'm glad that you guys like kind of pretty much shut that down and you guys kind of built this. So tell me a little bit about kind of your kind of layout. So I know you have a couple of employees here, a couple of folks here, and a group in India. Give me the scope of kind of your kind of how you guys manage operations.
So we have our business development person here in New York, and then I'm here in Kentucky, Louisville, Kentucky. Right. The rest of the entire team is based out of India. So all of our marketing, all of our product development, engineering, customer support happens from India.
Got it. And do they run a 24/7 cycle? Do you have the whole thing operationalized?
So customer support and success is 24/7, 24/5 weekdays, but engineering is just like normal India time, 10 a.m. to 7 p.m.
Got it. So I gotta ask you, man, Louisville, Kentucky?
Yeah.
Really? Okay, good. No, I mean, it's good, but you got to tell me the story. Like, how come you're hanging out in Louisville, Kentucky? There's got to be a story there.
Sure. So I used to live in Los Angeles till like last year, 2019 July, and then my wife suddenly decided to kind of got an offer for residency in dentistry here in Louisville, and she's like, "Hey, can we move?" And I'm like, sure. I'm anyways not going to the office. I'm working from home, so why not?
Well, right now nobody's going to the office anyway, so you're the man. Right now you're the boss. Right now you're like, fuck all of you people. I'm hanging out in Louisville, Kentucky. I'm making the same amount of money, and if not more, really, right? So it's crushing it. So give me also a sense of like the revenue growth. How has that been? Any challenges you faced? Kind of tell me what's the headwinds for you.
So because we did not have like SaaS background per se, so we didn't realize that there's a concept called monthly recurring revenue. Like we did not know that recurring revenue was something that we need to measure. So back in the day, we were just measuring revenues that, hey, this month, 30K in the bank, awesome, let's celebrate, right? And then we down the line realized that, hey, revenues do not make sense. What matters is how much growth are you building by making the revenue recurring. So back in 2016, I would like to say, 16, we were like at 22K MRR. And from there, like we did not have any focus on the product. We were like just copying the competitors, trying to gather and gain all and any customers that would come in. And then we said, this is not working out. We either focus on like one business line and then kind of expand, go after it, or we kind of shut this down and go back to services. And we then took a bet. We said, let's focus on SMBs. And that's where we started growing. So over the years, the growth rate has been like pretty much stable. It's been 3 to 4% month on month, which is net of churn. So we do not have outside capital, and hence, we're not aggressively growing in terms of growth at any rate. So that doesn't happen with us. And we're comfortably kind of growing happy without stressful
Yeah, it's
life.
30%,
Yeah,
30% analyzed is pretty good. I would say,
yeah,
like, where you're keeping everything. I think everybody is asking for 200%, it's all right. It's good.
yeah,
But, you can do 30% and still, it's gonna, you can do the math in a couple of years, you'll get to 10 million bucks. No, it's not a bad deal, honestly.
yep.
And you own all the equity in the company, and you can do what you want. Um, in terms of what do you think, I always wondered, like, do you need when you have, you said you had that 65-35 agency versus direct split. I've seen some companies that really like almost design a solution for agencies, right? Like the tool itself is
Mhm.
like kind of like super designed for agencies. Um, are you guys thinking about going that route and say like our target market is going to be all the agencies, and even focus more, or what are your thoughts? I'm kind of curious.
So we are aggressively building product towards that target market. One of the reasons being this is a must-have product for agencies. So
Correct. Right. Right. That's a good
uh,
that's a good way of thinking about it. Like it is like without this tool they cannot function. They need
yep,
this. This is almost like ERP for agencies. Like they need a social
social
platform.
media. That's right.
That's gonna.
Versus for small businesses, they could use. So if you look at Facebook, right? So they have come up with their own creator studio. Twitter has their own, tweet deck, which is free. So if you're running like one or two accounts, you don't need Social Pilot or any other software. You can just go to Facebook and schedule your tweets or posts
Got it.
there, right?
Got it.
Versus for agencies, they're managing like hundreds of accounts. They need a solution like this. So we are focusing aggressively on the agency side. Having said that, we have legacy customers on SMBs, and we continue to kind of gain more customers on SMBs. So we don't plan to kind of throw them away. Of
Hmm.
course, it's a sustainable solution for them. We are very much focused on the competitive advantage of pricing and support and service, and we would continue to provide that. But our focus would be on agencies.
Got it. And on the agency side, and you are focusing on like the sub 20 user agency
Mm-hmm.
realistically,
Yep.
not the really large ones, because they have a different,
Yep.
you're I love it that you're like super focused and you figured out that, like, selling into agencies, that's the key part. Is like when you sell into somebody, is your tool kind of like, you know an absolute must have for them, really,
Yep.
right? So that's a good way of kind of, for that persona, really, the persona that you're selling into. If it's a must have, then like COVID or not, they're gonna, still pay you one way or the other.
Right.
um, is this thing affecting you at all? I doubt it, but tell them, is this COVID stuff, I mean, not primarily but secondarily, is it affecting you? Do you have a bunch of agencies in the healthcare, in the travel and leisure space?
We have agencies in travel and leisure space, and we have smaller agencies which were just starting up, and then they were affected because their customers could not, pay them. So they left the tool. They switched off their business, etc. And
Right.
it's pretty sad. But at the same time, overall, I think we are experiencing growth because a lot of people are going online, and publishing on social media is like the next level of marketing for mom and pop stores, and they have started doing it themselves, or they contacted the agency who kind of specialize on SMBs, right? And hence those agencies are like coming into tools like Social Pilot. The other factor that we also see is our competitors are pretty expensive, like they're twice the cost, thrice the cost, and then they are experimenting with like a cheaper product like us, and then realizing that cheaper does not mean like aggressively price competitive does not mean really really cheap or lack of functions, right? And they realize that it does not mean lack of customer support, and then they kind of start liking it and they expand and they grow on the account. So it's, I think, working out well for us because everything is going online.
Right. I mean, yeah, definitely everything is online, and
Yeah.
that acceleration is obviously happening ad nauseum. So tell me a little bit about what's next. Where do you see in the next couple of years? Do you got, new products, new markets, new geo markets? So what's
Yeah.
kind of like what's in your horizon?
So last year, 2019, we did a lot of customer research, right? And what came across to us, talking to like several agencies here in the US, India, UK, etc., is agencies do not have like a go-to solution for various things, right? So there's obviously bigger players like Sprinkler, focused on enterprises, or Hootsuite and Sprout Social, which charge like hundreds of thousands of dollars. But at the same time, the customer service, just really does not scale up to the expectation. So what we realized in 2019 is that our sweet spot is helping agencies grow with us and we grow with them. How can we provide enterprise class product to growing agencies so that they can afford it? At the same time, expect like class A customer service. And if you can do that for social media, we can do it for other products in agency world as well. So be it reputation management, be it SEO management, be it reporting. So that's the kind of path that we are currently working on, and trying to kind of create a agency in a box or an agency suite kind of solution.
Right. So you're going to expand into the lateral functions that the agency needs. Really.
That's right.
That scope of agencies, the 5 to 20 user agency needs. So you kind of round them out and say like, okay, these are the other 6 or 7, or slowly over the next couple of years, you're going to kind of build that out. Good. I'm going to turn the table on you. Do you have any questions for me? We're going to do this thing double bi-directional. You have any questions? And we, usually Romy and I are on this, but today Romy bailed on me. So I'm going to do this thing. You can ask a question to me.
Awesome. Well, what's your growth story, man? How did you start? And like, what was the initial target customer? Where are you now in terms of targeting customers?
Yeah, so I've been at it for quite a while. So I started back in 2005, and again, like almost all stories that are there, randomly, serendipitously bumped into something or the other. We got lucky on SEO, to be brutally honest with you. So we did SEO before SEO was cool, and so we got a lot of customers just based on SEO. So that was, back in the day, it was much easier to do SEO. It's clearly a lot more complicated, a lot more difficult to do. A lot more people are doing it today. And one thing led to the other. And, and one of the things that we invested in India. We invested in, we have a big team in India. And the thing that actually worked for us, another thing that we actually do not only, engineering and support, and we also do sales out of India. So a lot of our, sales globally, we have a 24/7 sales operation that runs globally out of India. That's kind of like our commercial layer. Then we have in-market teams for our enterprise layer. So I will tell you that, I think our growth, honestly, and I think almost for all SaaS companies is like, as you go, figuring out the target like really well, and then going out, increasing the value prop on that target really, and which I think you've nailed it with agencies, and say like, okay, that's my target audience, like the 5 to 15. They need it. End of story. They can't function without a tool like yours. It's not like a nice to have. Like, if you want to start a 15-person marketing agency, like you need 5 tools really. If you cannot really function without email marketing, social monitoring, social pushing, a bunch of different things really. So, and you're part of that. So I think it's great that you. It's good to see, frankly, like that focus really, and that focus gives you kind of, I think you're going to do really well. In terms of, are you planning? I'm morbidly curious on a personal level. Are you going to hang out at, in Louisville, given nobody's moving anywhere anytime soon? So it's how long are you going to be there? Just give me. I'm just curious.
So at least till 2020, 22, like that's when my wife ends. Yeah.
Got it.
After that, we'll figure out where she wants to practice.
After that, she figured out wherever she gets a job, then you move there, right? There you go. You're just kind of following. Exactly. Yeah. She's the boss, and this is a great conversation. Thank you so much for hanging out, and thanks so much for sharing your story with us.
Absolutely. Thank you, Vik. Pleasure.
Right, cool. Cheers.
Take care.